This video is coming to you from Cavendish Beach in PEI. It is one of the prettiest places I've ever been in my life. There's a lot of pretty places around the world. When you drive everywhere, there's just so much greenery, a mix of different types of forestation. There's water, there's plants, the people are beautiful. It's so clean. I barely see any litter anywhere, which is amazing. I've seen a couple things, and what I've seen, obviously, I've picked it up and put it where it belonged, but they take really good care of their environment here, which I'm very impressed with. Today's video is going to be about balance and taking a break for yourself. The amount of people that have messaged me on social media is like, oh my god, some of them are saying it's so amazing to see you traveling around the world. Other people are saying things like, you take so much time off, how do you do that? And I just want to address living in balance as a whole. I think through life, we're taught to be really driven and be really ambitious and always strive for success. And I agree with all of those things. What I really aim for, though, is balance and having success in life. Because if you're only, and maybe actually this is a North American way of thinking, is that we're in this constant battle to be better at work and have more and have more and have more. And it just really never stops. If you go anywhere else in the world, like let's say you're working in Europe, you get, I think it's like 5 or 6 weeks as soon as you start working there. And in the grand scheme of things, I probably take 5 weeks off a year right now, which is a lot for North American standards. But for Jessica's standards, I think that's actually quite low. I used to take 10 weeks off a year. And truthfully, my goal is to be able to take 1 week off a month. So 12 weeks a year, if not more. And I do believe that you can have it all. If you think about it in the grand scheme of things, 5 weeks off a year in 52 is not very much. When you don't take that time off and when you do live out of balance, it creates a whole bunch of other problems. Right now, North American statistics for things like anxiety and depression, people medicated for anxiety and depression, in my opinion, is through the roof, and it's kind of ridiculous. Not that anxiety and depression are ridiculous, that's not what I mean at all. Everyone goes through it, including myself. I've had my moments. I definitely don't think, though, that medication should be so quickly administered, and especially when it's a chronic thing that you're going to be on for years. When I was younger, it was something that older people, more mature people that had a lot more stresses of life would be possibly on. But now the number of teenagers that are on it is very worrisome because, one, they're very young, and if you are a teenager, listen, you're very young, and to be on that for the next number of decades of your life, that can't be doing anything good. I'm very much about holistic health and healing and all those kind of things. And so I also believe that when you're putting something into your environment, it is impossible for it to not have a reaction. I get Western medicine has a place. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that there are other ways to deal with anxiety and depression. A little bit of sadness and anger and whatever, all those other negative emotions are actually really good for us, and all it means is that energy is moving through us and out. Anything that doesn't serve us is being gotten rid of. We're getting rid of it so that we can make room for something new that's more beautiful and that will serve us. It's that law of polarity. You can't have one without the other. And a little bit of stress in your life too is actually really good for you. It pushes you to be better. It's stress management and management of being angry and being in a depression or all those kind of things, so that the energy can safely move through you without you harming yourself or harming someone else or whatever, anything under that umbrella. I want to take the time to talk a little bit about one of my favorite meditation techniques. A lot of people have been asking me how I meditate, what's it like. A common thing that people say, including myself when I first started, is it's really difficult to quiet the mind. How can you sit there? How long do you need to sit there for? What can you do? Blah, 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 all those kind of things. And meditation doesn't have to be this huge thing. I would start with something that is easy for you, yet still challenging. For some people, it's 5 minutes. That's all they can take. For some people, it's 10. I would really encourage yourself to push yourself to 15 minutes, unless you really can't sit there for 15 minutes, which I'll give you some techniques that might help you. Because I find that with myself, I live a very, very busy life. That's why I do take 5 weeks of vacation, actually, because when I am at home, at work, I'm working around the clock, and I need to really alleviate myself. So I do try to practice meditation at least 3 to 4 times a week when I'm at home, and then I also come to a place like this where I can totally disconnect from life and stimulus and then reconnect with myself. So I find that at least 15 minutes is good. I find the first 10 minutes is where I'm getting settled, and the last 5 minutes is where I really get that connection and that quietness. And the other thing I want to mention about meditation is it's not about not thinking. A lot of people, including myself when I first started, it's like, okay, stop thinking. It is an incredibly hard thing to do. When someone tells you to stop thinking, it's like me telling you to stop thinking or to not think about a purple elephant. First thing you're thinking about is a purple elephant. So meditation is more just like a relaxed frame of mind. You're gonna have these thoughts come through. Imagine yourself as a fisherman sitting on a boat, and these fishies, which are your thoughts, swimming underneath you, and you get to consciously decide which fish you want to bite. That's kind of what meditation is to some degree. You're just slowing down your thought. So one of my favorite meditations that I do, especially in the moments where I feel like I can't settle, if I'm going through a lot of anxiety and I'm like, I want to meditate, but really there's no way I could focus because there's so much on my mind, these ones work the best. Or not the best, there's so many out there, but this is what I find to be the easiest, and I call it the 5 senses meditation. And so basically what it is you laying there or sitting there, whatever, and using only one of your 5 senses. You want to completely isolate it. So you're going to have either your visual. If you're going to lay there and use your eyes, I would suggest putting in earplugs or anything that can distract you from the sounds that are going on around you, and just use your eyes and see the world for what it is. And it's going to be incredible, the things that you see, all the details that you notice. And when you're really just utilizing your eyes, you're not thinking. Absolutely, you're not thinking at all. Another one is to lay there and use only your ears. I play some of my favorite music, or ones with a lot of different instrumentals like saxophone. Sometimes they have a keyboard in there, or drums. And and close your eyes. And I promise you that you'll hear music like you've never heard it before. It'll be the most beautiful and amazing thing ever. Another one is to feel. So lay there, close your eyes, put your earplugs in. It's nice out on a beach, especially because you get to feel the wind and the heat, and you can actually feel humidity as well. I don't know if you're that in tune with yourself, or some of you are like, yeah, of course you can, you're ridiculous. We're all at different levels, so that's okay. That's okay, and that's the other thing. We're all at different levels. Respect yourself and honor yourself for where you're at, and just know to start somewhere. And not to compare yourself to someone else. Like, I personally can't sit and meditate for 2 hours. I know people that can do it, no problem. So always just set yourself a goal and aim to be better than you were yesterday. Taste meditation and smell meditations are ones that I haven't done yet, but I will do one day. Imagine this. If you just got yourself a nice fat piece of cake, and you had to sit there with your eyes closed and your ears plugged, and all you could do is eat that cake so slowly for 15 minutes and really taste that cake. How amazing would that be? Or to smell something. Obviously go somewhere where the scents are pleasant, maybe a perfume factory of some sort, or out into an open field, not necessarily a sewage waste plant center or something of the sort, because that wouldn't be good unless you really wanted to. You could do that too. Life is all about the experiences. I really encourage you to try that. Try meditating. It's really hard to say every day. So set something that's relative to your life that you can easily achieve to really start to build that habit. That's first and foremost what you want to do, build a habit. And think of everything you do like a bank account. There's 7 days in a week, so you have a chance for 7 deposits or 7 withdrawals. Every time in that week that you do something, you can put in $1. Well, let's say $100. Okay, let's make this a very abundant, full exercise. And every time that you don't do something, you have to take out $100. So if you do it 4 times in the week, you're netting in a positive outcome. That is something that I've applied to everything in my life, whether it be yoga or reading or journaling or whatever, anything, exercising, eating cake, because sometimes it's important to eat cake as well. So try meditation, and I really encourage you in the moments where you feel anxious, just take a moment, sit, even close your eyes, take 10 deep breaths, tell yourself, say, hey, Jessica, it's gonna be okay. You just need to relax for a second here, and everything will always work out. if you are someone that is on medication for anxiety or depression or something, some type of chronic med, I encourage you to try to get off of it. Wean yourself off of it. Set goals. Don't put pressure on yourself. I talked to this person about smoking the other day. They really wanted to quit smoking and they thought it was all or nothing. It's like, I have to quit cold turkey, but then it's really difficult for me. I'm like, no, like everything is a progression of life. Know that you're going to fall off the wagon every so often, and that's okay. Get back on it afterwards. So for smoking, let's say, if you're someone that smokes a pack a day, maybe cut back by a cigarette every week or whatever that you think is going to be attainable for you so that you can have results long term. So same thing with these kind of meditations and medications, is like wean yourself off the medication, slowly implement some meditation, and get some zen in your life. And also know that not all moments are zen. Sometimes it's gonna be a shit show, and that's okay. That's life. We're meant to feel. We're living beings. We're meant to feel pain and sadness, and we're also meant to feel happiness and joy. And if I may make a suggestion, don't get stuck in the pain and sadness. Get stuck in the happiness and joy. The best description I've ever heard for happiness is an intrinsic state of being. It's just being at peace with what is. More than one person has said to me, Jessica, people like you don't understand. And I always think to myself, what does that even mean? Nothing was ever handed to me. I've had some really rough times growing up. I had a really rough upbringing. I'm not saying I had the most tragic life out there. Definitely not. But everything that has happened shapes who we are as an individual. So embrace whatever traumas you have, whatever sadness you have, and embrace all the joys and happiness too. And know that without all those things, you wouldn't be who you are.